Shall we?
Really sorry to ask you to do that, but that's one of the proudest moments of my life so far. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Toad session number 9. I think we're on 9. Shenandoah Davis has, well, you're touring Europe, UK, you're just generally touring, aren't you?
Yeah, just traveling all over the place. I just pretty much tried to find shows in the countries that I wanted to visit.
But did you do it through friends, or were you a bit more, I mean, are you just touring visiting mates, or have you actually really put a lot more organisation into it and tried to set up a more systematic kind of a tour?
Yeah, I definitely wasted a lot more time planning it and blindly emailing people in other countries who I had never met before direction.
You must have had, I mean, it must be a bit random, you must have played some strange shows.
The strangest one was in Berlin with this married couple from Denmark, and the band was called Straight from the Harp. It was beats and harmonica playing, and the wife was dancing, and that was it.
You see, you're going to play Trampoline in Edinburgh tonight, well, which by the time this gets published will probably be a couple of months ago. But you played it. I mean, so that's very, very straightforward indie rock. 3-band lineup. That's kind of what I think of as a bill, you know. But then last night you actually played in a bar that all of us involved in the Toad session, we're all from Edinburgh we all live here anyway, and nobody had heard of the bar. There's a sort of grim determination that the Scots apply to their drinking.
I think it's admirable.
So, I mean, you've come over from Seattle, and I think there seems to be a bit of a community that you're sort of involved with, and we'll get into sort of that later because you play as part of a collective, but I'll ask you that later, I guess. We might as well fire straight into the first session track. Could you just introduce the song? I suppose it's Fire and Proof, isn't it?
Yeah, it's called Proof.
Fuck it. Okay, that's all the introduction you're going to get.
1, 2, 3, 4.
But you were saying that you left, like I say, you left jazz and classical sort of behind because you found it a little bit too, it had a sort of myopia you were talking about. What exactly do you can just sort of elaborate on that a bit, because I'm going to ask you, because I find indie folk has got its own myopia, so I just really compare and contrast, I suppose, in 400 words.
They definitely both have their downfalls, but when I was in school I was studying opera performance, and then I was playing piano for all these other opera singers, and I hadn't studied it at all before I went to school. I just pretty much had to go to school because that's what people do. And I was like, oh, if I'm going to go, I might as well learn something fun. But it was just so much of it, so much time and all this competition, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't really care about this enough to bother doing all of this work.
So it was actually almost like the environment was too inwardly focused, rather than in particular you found the music to be not free enough. Because I don't know, I mean, when you start talking about the kind of music that you're playing now, I find there's a lot of that within, you know, indie music, whatever you want to call it, but you know, the kind of stuff that we're all involved in. Is it something that you've been wanting to put together for ages? Because when you broke from your more traditional sort of upbringing, it must have taken you a while to get a feel for what you wanted to do, did it? Or was that something you found quite quickly? No,
it did take me a while. I actually probably started to figure it out after that first album was recorded. I had just, after I moved to Seattle, I was starting to write songs, and it was just, I don't know, it's kind of the way that people do it now. It's just writing them and recording them at home and throwing them on MySpace, and I didn't have enough songs for a whole show, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was afraid of playing by myself. So I hadn't really done anything, and then a newspaper called The Stranger, that's kind of the alt weekly in Seattle, just somehow stumbled across the MySpace page and wrote a huge article in the paper about it, and then all of a sudden
just basically found you on MySpace and said, this woman's amazing.
This is so great. And then everyone was like, why haven't we heard of you? Why haven't you played at this place yet? Why haven't you played with this band yet? And so I wasn't really doing anything worthwhile at the time in the rest of my life. So I just kind of hacked together a set and started playing a bunch of shows, and then wrote about half of the songs on the album while we were recording it. And then released it, and then as soon as I was done with that, I thought, okay, now I am going to take
slow down
some time
and
to figure out what the hell is going on.
None of you even tried. None of you even tried.